Just to preface, I have recorded this a while back, but I just hadn't been getting around to editing the video. So a lot of this is some old information, has been repeated on multiple YouTube channels, but again, just this was recorded a lot earlier. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Sage McSwain, and for today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the recent ESPN layoffs and what I think the future of the sports media industry would be like. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So the recent ESPN layoffs have been surprising but also very enlightening about what has been happening in the sports industry. As someone inspired to make this podcast from many on-air ESPN talents and personalities, these layoffs were very surprising. A lot of these people were at the very core of my sports experience. Names like Jalen Rose, Max Kellerman, Todd McShay, and many more. These layoffs have had me question the future of the sports media landscape. Around 2015, ESPN laid off a lot of behind-the-scenes workers. With these layoffs, many were starting to call for on-air talent to be fired, with worries that the show they loved would be changed. Now, about 8 years later, it has happened. And I think this move will change the aspect of sports media for many years to come. Obviously, in America, especially post-pandemic America, is still trying to recover from many of the effects the pandemic caused. And many of these moves have been resolved by employee cuts and money restrictions. In 2021, the U.S. had an unemployment rate of 4.83% and 3.57% in 2022. Just recently, ESPN's parent company Disney laid off 4,000 employees due to cost-cutting strategies. I do expect these issues to also spread to other big companies in the sports world. Companies like CBS and NBC could possibly follow suit with ESPN and lay off many on-air talents. As humans, we try to also make a situation super black and white. There must be a clear protagonist and a clear antagonist. Many have been pointing fingers at the Pat McAfee deal spanning 5 years and costing $85 million for ESPN. But I don't think that's the case here. Pat McAfee is a tremendous on-air talent that I've grown to watch frequently and love. I think his signing is a great addition to what ESPN is planning for the future of their program. Clearly, a big change is happening content-wise for ESPN. The hot take debate show era seems to finally come to an end, with First Take being one of the first to really show success in that type of field. After that, practically every sports channel and YouTube channel tried to adopt the new style. However, after all the time seeing the same style became boring to viewers, and they wanted something new, and that's where a new and emerging opponent for these sports programs comes in: YouTube. Now, YouTube probably become one of, if not the best ways to approach sports content. If you're not able to see the First Take episode live on TV, the clips of the topic that you wanted to hear about will be on YouTube anyway. YouTube also has many different channels that approach these topics in different ways. Some of my favorites are Flumlo Raps, Urinating Tree, KTO, Tom Grossi, Mike Korzemba, That's Good Sports, and many more that I just can't think off the top of my head. But these great channels are able to speak on what's happening in the sports world while being easily accessible and entertaining to new and existing audiences. This melting pot of sports content on YouTube also changed the sports media landscape in many ways. Flemlo and That's Good Sports also talked a bit about this in their videos, but YouTube created another competitor for these sports channels. Now, instead of having to compete with these other these sports channels that are entertaining to viewers, now they have to go ahead and try to compete with a third party that's coming right up behind them with more competition than ever. And I mean, how are you really supposed to keep up with that and keep it still entertaining for many of your viewers and audience? So it's definitely been hard for these sports companies to really catch up. I mean, and these sports broadcasting corporations try to integrate YouTube to the best of their ability by posting clips they know go viral or trying to post more exclusive content on their channel. But The new signing of Pat McAfee shows that ESPN and many other sports channels have failed at assimilating into the new culture. This shock may confuse a lot of people, but I believe we are witnessing something akin to when digital forms of news started to beat out physical paper copies. While there are some people still watching these shows live, most of the sports fandom are watching these clips after the fact and reacting to them on social media. These layoffs, I think, show a big crack in the sports media juggernaut's ESPN's armor. This is a company that has been at the pinnacle of sports media for decades, and it seems like that it has started to shift in the sports media landscape and future. I have always wanted to work for ESPN, and one of my goals in starting this podcast was to get better and gain more knowledge of the culture and what I would have to do in the grand scheme of things. But others like myself who don't have a big platform and are worried that our dreams of obtaining a job in the sports industry could all just be that, a big dream. As someone that is moving on to the next chapter of my life and starting to enter college, I feel that there's a possibility that I do something that will end up even working out due to the lack of opportunity at these more established networks. And I feel that there's a sentiment with that idea, that there could be less opportunity with a company, and that the sports industry itself will be in great danger of falling under. And with that, I really just say all that to say that a lot of what's rooted in the sports industry is you're supposed to get a job at one of these bigger corporations, NFL, ESPN, NBA, CBS, NBC, to really kind of work in a industry that you've come to love. But now with these layoffs, there's a good chance that something is probably just not going to work out. Just a lot of people trying to find a way to still work in the sports industry, do what they love, but at the same time, you just run the risk of possibly just bouncing from job to job because you can't really find stability within the sports industry, which I feel has become a little bit more common. A lot of these layoffs happen to on-air talents that, again, lost their jobs. Sure, they were great on-air talents, but some of them probably didn't have much to really fall back on, and most of them didn't really have die-hard fans. I'm sure Max Kellerman will be able to find another place. He's had his own boxing show before ESPN, and I think he's a really great talent that can definitely make his own show and or podcast and just go with that. So I really wouldn't be surprised if he was able to do that. A lot of these guys, still can find a job elsewhere, but again, for people like myself who want to go into the field or are still in the field, but again, they don't really have anything to really fall on. They don't have that big name, that credible source in the sports realm. So where else are you going to be going? And that's kind of the hard issue and hard point that we are running into, is that there's not really much of a place for us as creators or just fans of the game to really work in a realm that we've come to love for multiple years. So it's definitely going to be an interesting landscape, I think, for sports media overall. We've seen the development through social media, and I feel that YouTube and digital content is probably going to be the future of sports media. I feel that these live shows are pretty good for breaking news and entertaining to watch if you have a good personality, unlike myself. But I think it's going to be really hard to see what happens here, because I think the shift, we're kind of in a new renaissance era, I guess, of what we're trying to figure out. So it's going to be interesting to see. Again, that's really all I can say. I feel I still got a few more years until I can see what the true landscape of it will be. But yeah, for sure, I think social media and digital content creation is probably going to be the future of sports media, and I think that it's probably safe to say that the live television aspect of it all, I mean, especially with cable going under as well, the live show aspect is probably gonna be falling down soon, and I think most of these sports networks are gonna be going to, more of content creating rather than just having live on-air personalities. But that'll be it for today's little short episode. Just thought I'd speak about it a little bit, but let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Also, leave a like and subscribe while you're down there. Also, share with anybody that you think may find this video interesting. If you're on the podcast version, go ahead, leave the podcast 5 stars and press that follow button. That'd be greatly appreciated. But other than that, thank you and have a great rest of your day. Bye.